Our last speaker tonight is going to provide a little different perspective, but also in many ways a very similar perspective. She is affectionately known as Miss Kimberly.
Thank you, Mark. Wow. It took me 28 years to be valedictorian of my class. Thank you. All kidding aside. I stand here before you tonight, graduates, proudly celebrating your success and achievement in obtaining your diplomas. Like many of you, I didn't have available to me the traditional supports and struggled to provide for myself beginning at the age of 15. I dropped out of high school and became a young mother of 2 boys. We struggled to get through each day. There were many times we didn't even have enough food for the 3 of us, and I can even remember just having rice and ketchup while my 2 boys ate the last pork chop. Although I didn't know what life was like beyond where I was at the time, I knew I could not give up. I had to keep going and do the best that I could with what I had and with what I was able to acquire as I went. Dale Carnegie once said, "Most of the important things in the world have been accomplished by people who have kept on trying when there seemed to be no hope at all." I was the product of my environment, living the same cycle I grew up in with abusive and alcoholic parents. Parents that weren't able to express love in a meaningful way. I constantly heard, "Get out of here, leave me alone," and I was only good enough to serve them. I watched my stepfather beat my mother till she was bloody and knocked out, and I watched my stepmother stab and beat my father, all in fits of drunken rage. I lived through hearing how I was no good and never would amount to anything. But I had one thing they didn't realize, and one thing all of you have, and that's courage.
Yeah!
Mark Twain is quoted as saying, "Courage is not the lack of fear. It is acting in spite of it." As I relived the whirlwind of my childhood and the beginnings of being a parent, I told myself, I have to change this. I can't be like them. I have to do better by my children. My boys needed me, and I could love them. I could be the only one to love them the way they needed to be loved. I needed to figure out how to do this. I've heard the next quote throughout my life, and now I can attribute it to the man that said it, Michael Korda. To succeed, we must first believe that we can.
Yeah.
I have, not knowing why, but knowing I had to, I enrolled in an adult education course at Kala Hill School for Adults in Hawaii, where I grew up. I sat in this class dreading it because I didn't learn by just reading a book. And math, oh my gosh. I'm serious. Once I went to take my GED, I didn't know what to expect, and I didn't even believe I was going to even pass. I remember receiving a letter in the mail indicating I passed the test, but unlike all of you, I had to pay another $20 to get my diploma. It took me 2 years to save up that $20, and finally I had my diploma. By this time, I knew I needed to get a job that paid more than just minimum wage. I went back to that same school and took a class in typing and one in accounting. Later that year, I enrolled in a business college and dropped out after 6 months because I couldn't pass the English course. But I gained enough skills that made me employable to the point I was able to work as a receptionist, and subsequently moved up in my career as a bookkeeper, and then I went into the field of disabilities. It was here that I learned I had a learning disability. This explains why being provided a textbook without any support didn't help me. This explained why I couldn't get through that English class, even though I tried 3 times. I spent the next 13 years working with families with children with learning disabilities and achieving personal success. Along this road in my career, I was constantly faced with not having a degree. I had all the work and life experience someone would desire in an ideal candidate as an employee, but I lacked the piece of paper that brought it all together, that would make me a marketable commodity in the field of disabilities. Despite this, I lived as I do today to make a difference in at least one person's life each and every day, and I could only dream of going to college and becoming a lawyer. That day came, not that I'm a lawyer, but that I went to college. I had a little baby boy that enabled me to stay home and not work, and he's here tonight. He's 13. After 1 year, we had adapted to the differences in income, and I enrolled in college and attended my first class in the fall of 1999. I moved to Kansas that next semester and continued on with my education. I earned my associate's degree, but I didn't celebrate. I told myself, congratulations, but no celebrating until you have your bachelor's. I was on a roll and moving fast. I obtained that Bachelor's of Science in 2003, and hallelujah, I did it. As many of my students have heard me say this year, wait until you are sitting at graduation. This is that moment, folks. The feeling of accomplishment will be overwhelming because you did it just like I did it. We did it together. No matter whom your teacher is, Miss Barb, Miss Peggy, Leanne, Doc, Miss Linda, Chris, Marla, or any of the other of us, we believed in you, and you had enough courage to believe in yourself. And now, I lied again. I said one last command was in the hallway twice. This is my last command to you. Pat yourself on the back. You guys did it.
Way to go!
You deserve it. You deserve to be proud and know that nobody can ever take this away from you. Miss Eleanor Roosevelt said, I believe that anyone can conquer fear by doing the things he fears to do, provided he keeps doing them until he gets a record of successful experiences behind him. Yes, what lies ahead of you is scary. And yes, there is fear. But do like I did. Keep going. I went to obtain my master's from Iowa State in 2005. This is why I wear this regalia. This is a hood. I stand before you one more time, not as your teacher, but as your peer. And I encourage all of you to leap forward, take off, and soar like an eagle. I'm going to butcher this guy's name, but his name is something that goes like this. Farrell Khan Korol is quoted as saying, love makes us human, courage makes us extraordinary. You, all you graduates, are all extraordinary individuals, and never forget that. I leave you with one final quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson. He says, and listen very carefully, whatever you do, you need courage. Whatever course you decide upon, there is always someone to tell you that you are wrong. There are always difficulties arising that tempt you to believe your critics are right. To map out a course of action and to follow it to an end requires some of the same courage that a soldier needs. Peace has its victories, but it takes brave men and women to win them. Go and win your battles, go and win your goals and soar like that eagle. Congratulations.